One simple idea changed the world so many times already. The internet you are using right now, the phone, electricity, a light bulb. This story is about an idea that changed the world just recently, and how the people behind it actually made it happen. Chapter 1. The Idea. Silicone Valley, December 2015. A man in his early 30s sits in a rented house on a quiet street. Afternoon light filters through the blinds while a cup of coffee cools on the table. The dinner table is filled with laptops, chargers, notebooks, and empty mugs. Friends gather in loose clusters. Some talk quietly and some scroll through phones. He stirs his coffee and looks toward the window. "What if intelligence stopped being scarce?" he says. Everyone pauses. He folds his hands on the table and adds, "The goal isn't to keep it for one group. It should be available to everyone." Questions starts appearing. How could it be built? How much compute would it need? Who decides when it's safe? A few friends speak at once. Ideas collide. They start to draw them on a whiteboard. In the background, Elon Musk listens on the other end of a call. He asks about mission and about safety. He pushes them to think about risk, but also about scale. The conversation stretches into the evening. Plans for the next steps are sketched. Phone calls made, emails drafted. By nightfall, the first framework already exists. That's how fast the idea was born. At this point, they didn't even know what will follow. What seemed like an interesting idea will soon change the world forever. Chapter 2. The Bet, San Francisco, 2016. The rented house has become a base. Laptops hum. People arrive with backpacks, carrying questions and ambition. Calls are made to investors. Some say yes. Some say it will never work. Elon's early commitment ignites the first wave of backing. Reid Hoffman, Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, and others pledge support. Together, they announce a $1 billion commitment, the promise of resources for a new kind of AI research lab. The team comes together: Ilya Sutskever, Greg Brockman, Wojciech Zaremba, John Schulman, experts in machine learning, driven to push boundaries. They crowd around the table, now an office desk, sketching models across whiteboards. Ideas collide. Disagreements flare. How open should we really be? What happens if someone else builds it first? Can we build safely while moving fast? Elon presses for clarity, for responsibility, for safety. Sam listens, questions, writes. Plans twist and turn. By late 2018, one truth is unavoidable. Competing with the world's biggest companies requires more than hope. They need capital. Capital that can fuel massive compute. The structure must change. By early 2019, a capped profit subsidiary is formed, controlled by the nonprofit. A model designed to attract investment without compromising the mission. Then they call Microsoft. Microsoft answers with a multi-billion-dollar investment and offers Azure infrastructure. The bet isn't over, but now the world is watching. At that moment, they could not imagine how fast the technology would move. Chapter 3. The Acceleration. 2019 to 2022. The first major models arrived, GPT-2, then GPT-3, and each one pushed the boundaries further, reaching beyond the sketches they had once drawn on whiteboards. The teams kept growing, with some researchers staying for years while others moved on to start their own projects, taking what they had learned and spreading it into new ventures. Lines of code filled screens, compute clusters hummed in the background, and a new vocabulary, transformer, parameters, scaling laws, crept into everyday conversation, changing the way everyone thought about AI and what it could do. Then, in late 2022, everything shifted. ChatGPT opened to the public, and people around the world began using it. Students, writers, artists, developers, all engaging with dialogue systems that felt like thinking partners. The usage climbed rapidly, and Sam watched the numbers grow, noticing how people interacted with the tools they had built. It felt vast immediate and real. The acceleration was undeniable, but at that moment, they had no idea what mass adoption would demand next. Chapter 4. The Scale 2023 to 2024. OpenAI was no longer hidden in research papers. It appeared on front pages, in headlines, and in conversations across the world. Then, in November 2023, a big thing happened. The nonprofit board removed Sam Altman as the CEO, and the announcement spread through the company like a shockwave. Internal messages surged, leadership alignments shifted, and for a few tense days, the lab protested. Thanks to their pressure, Sam Altman was in the end reinstated. The board was replaced and reconstituted, and it became clear that the lab had changed. He became CEO again, and governance, not just technology, had become central to the story. However, voices from outside weighed in, including Elon Musk, co-founder of the original nonprofit, who criticized OpenAI's direction. He argued that the commercial evolution betrayed the founding mission and filed lawsuits to challenge it. OpenAI announced a new plan to change how the company was run. The part of the company that makes money would now operate more like a public benefit company, but the nonprofit would still control the mission. More people outside the company, government leaders, lawyers, and researchers, started asking questions and raising concerns. Sam and the board spoke publicly to reassure everyone that the nonprofit would remain in charge, even as the business side grew. The discussion became public and sometimes heated, touching on law, ethics, and the future of AI. It was tense, and at that moment, they had no idea how the world would react to this change. Chapter 5: The Future. OpenAI and its partners announced a huge investment. SoftBank put in $40 billion to build new computers, data centers, and help the company grow faster than ever. During the year, the organization changed again. In May, it confirmed that the nonprofit would stay in control, even as the part of the company that earns money became a public benefit company. By October, the reorganization was complete. The nonprofit became the OpenAI Foundation and held main control over the OpenAI group, while Microsoft kept about 27% of the company. The foundation used its funds to support global projects, health research, AI safety, and programs for public benefit. People moved around the AI field. Some researchers left for new ventures, while others, including Sam Altman, stayed focused on the mission. The AI tools they built, writing assistants, creative tools, chat systems, were now part of daily life for millions of people. Sam walked through halls full of screens, servers, and teams, remembering that afternoon in 2015 when the idea began. He felt the weight of decisions made and the choices still ahead. The future was still being written, by technology, by rules, and by the people shaping how AI affects the world. Today, OpenAI stands at a pivotal moment. Its GPT-level models are used by hundreds of millions every week, and the company is expanding into new areas like images, browsers, and enterprise tools. Costs are high, growth is fast, and OpenAI continues balancing innovation with financial and operational challenges. Governments and communities are paying close attention, raising questions about safety, fairness, and impact. OpenAI is both a technology leader and a company navigating what comes next. Let me know what topic I should cover next in the comments below.